guys, and welcome to Bomb Anime. It's your girl,
Riga,
and Big Boy Summer here, bringing you another episode of our wild card. You know what it is? Let's get right into it.
2020 was actually a really good year for anime, I felt. And there was a couple of animes that I was really into this year. Well, now it's last year. Thank God for that. People, aren't you so happy that we all made it through 2020? Now let's get back to it. Danmachi was one of those animes that I was watching this year. I personally feel that season 3, this season of Danmachi, was the best season that we've gotten from it so far.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like the introduction of the whole Xenos clan, the multi-layered approach around the characters surrounding Bell and their interactions and how deep that his people will go for him, and his ability to just bridge the tensions between the monsters and the people. I really liked it. Watching this was like a roller coaster, ups and downs all around. I thought it was fantastic.
What I liked about this season was, even if there were certain things that were slightly predictable, as a whole, it was very unpredictable. I didn't know which way that they were going to take it, and they managed to do little things to shock you, like Hermes and his decision to just turn everything on its head and cause a whole fight in the middle of the city, destroying even more of it. People were just starting to pick up their lives again and rebuild what was already destroyed, and here we go with another catastrophe, and it was caused by a god that I wasn't expecting.
That was great. And then Freya as well, her involvement coming in at the end, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
it was beautiful, and they did a banging job in making sure that literally I was on the edge of my seat the whole time going, ooh, oh, what? Oh my God. Like literally every emotion I could possibly think of happened, and it was great.
Like you were saying, the introduction of the Xenos was really interesting. We got to see a lot more lore on the story itself in terms of the monsters and what actually happens to them once they're killed, because for me, I'm only used to watching an anime that deals with dungeons and monsters as part of an isekai. So you kind of just accept that the monsters die and they respawn just like a game. But in this world, it's world, and we're following it as the primary world source. And so just finding out things about the dungeon, the fact that the monsters call the dungeon its mother, and the fact that if they have enough will or regrets or feelings, it keeps going each life they live. Yeah,
that continuation was like, it was the great exposition that I needed in order to really appreciate how well thought this anime was. Yeah, we see it through Belle and Hestia and the whole clan, but as I said, as they introduced Xenos, then you actually really understood that this is not just let me go kill monsters and then return and let me go kill some more. No, it was a whole community. There was so much behind it, and it was great to watch. I mean, like the fight scenes as well this season, that was great. The introduction of the destruction, as you said earlier, that was also great. You know what, Danmachi, 2 thumbs up.
Also finding out that some monsters actually lived on the surface before, because we had one of the monsters that remembered a sunset.
Yeah.
So we know now that monsters actually did live on the surface. They weren't always in this dungeon. So like just finding out little things, because I haven't read the source material. I haven't read anything related to Danmachi. I have actually. I started to read the first volume, but I'm not very far in, as I mentioned on one of our other videos. So really I only have the anime to go off of. So it was really interesting to see like this setup and the introduction of Eveless. Very on the nose. It wasn't very imaginative, but the introduction makes me think that when we get season 4, we're going to probably see some more of that, and we're going to see gods who have actually decided to take a different route, which is very interesting. It's a nice interesting spin on the Lucifer story of falling and going to a different side and building his own empire. We're seeing that with all these gods here, which is quite fun to see on screen.
What I'm looking forward to in season 4 would be more of the gods' backstories.
Yeah.
Because like it's time now. We know what the monsters are about. We know what the adventurers are about. So what are the gods about? why did they choose to come down to Earth? I mean, like, I suppose they had a choice in the matter.
They do.
So, like, what makes a god decide, you know what, I'm going to leave paradise and come to this sweaty, nasty place called Earth? Well, the world in which Danmachi is in. I really want to know about that for the next season.
Yeah, same. I would like to know a little bit of the backstory and the relationship to each other, because we saw that Hermes and Freya were actually, they had a bet going on that none of us were privy to until the end. Very nice kept secret. That was quite cool. But the gods also have relationships to each other. We've seen some of it before, like, you know, Hestia has problems with some of the gods. Like, some of them don't like each other and they have very distinct personalities, but it would still be nice to see a little bit more of that and find out the reasoning behind some of these relationships that are interplaying. And another thing that I really, really did like about this season was the fact that Bel used his hero ability again, but it did not go the same way that we've seen it go before. So I like that this ability isn't just something that he can call whenever and it's going to work every time. I like the mystery of it. I like having a little bit of uncertainty about that power, because when I did see it, I was like, oh, he's going to win now. Like, he put all his will into that. He's definitely going to come on top. And then he didn't. I loved it. It was really well done.
Now, I really want to know more about the relationship as well between Bel and Ice. Because at the end of the day, the whole point of watching the anime in the beginning was, how are these two going to reconcile the fact that they kind of like each other? That's what I got from it. And so I like the fact that they still brought it full circle towards the end to make us remember, oh yeah, by the way, this is still a thing. Because Ice's response to Bel asking him to train her again was, you're not fair. Which is something that you only hear when they kind of like you.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of cute. But that was like the only cute thing about this whole season. But yeah, go on, Ruka. Tell me how it's not cute.
I just don't like the relationship between Bel and Ice. Ice is a very boring character to me. She doesn't do anything. Her emotions are very flat. The only interesting thing about her is actually her abilities themselves. She's basically on God mode with her abilities. We saw a fraction of it in this season. I feel like there's still so much more that we haven't seen in terms of her abilities. But apart from that, I don't have much to say about Ice. She's very boring and I'm not interested in her, and I lose interest when I see her on screen unless she's fighting.
Well, I want to go back to the fact that you said she has God abilities that we still haven't seen. I agree with that. However, my thing is, if you are so powerful and you weren't rendered immobile in this fight, why is it that you left Bel to fight the Minotaur by himself? Why didn't you jump in? Because you know, yeah, you know that you're stronger than Bel is. Why didn't you help him out?
Seriously?
Yep.
No one could intervene in that fight. It would have completely taken away all of his honor. It's very disrespectful. If someone had jumped into that fight, no one jumped into that fight. There was tons of people more powerful that could have disposed of that Minotaur way easier than Bel could have. It wasn't about that. There was so much more on the line. He had to prove himself. He had to do this. And we actually saw that this fight did something for Bel that he wouldn't have been able to do on his own.
Lose.
And that was, no. So before this happened, public opinion was so low of Bel and probably of the entire Hestia family. They could have been really banished and disbanded and just discarded because of all the things that they were involved in that they should not have had any part in. No one liked it. Anytime someone saw him on the screen, they were talking about him behind his back. They were giving him dirty looks. They were talking badly about the Familia. But what we saw in this fight is everybody's opinion changing. Everyone loves an underdog. Everyone started cheering him on. They started having more respect for him. All the people who had said, oh, he's cheated his way to the level that he got to, because no one has gotten to that level that quickly apart from like a couple of people. It's not really heard of. Bel has been just racking up the levels and people have been thinking that he was somehow cheating. Opinion was already bad about him before all this stuff went down with the Xenos. But what we saw here was a complete change of heart that he would not have been able to accomplish by himself. He needed something like this, something powerful like this, for people to actually see and say, do you know what?
Another question I've got as well. if you have so many magical items, why aren't you equipping these? Like, you only bought them here. All of your team could have been leveled up quicker if you all had magical items inside the dungeon, right?
Maybe there's something else in the light novels that would explain magic items. Maybe they're not very available. They might be extremely expensive. The Hestia family isn't exactly the richest clan. They have this big house, but they won that, and we already know Hestia's in so much debt. So that's why when they tried to recruit, nobody wanted to be a part of it, because they found out about the massive debts. So they're not rich. They might not have that at their disposal. We only really see Lily with magic items and stuff of that nature. And of course, she's a support character, so she would have that. So that's where she's going to have to put her money anyway. So maybe it's just not readily available like that. That's the only thing I can think. Or everyone will be equipping these items, and we don't see it that much, to be honest, from anyone.
I'm a big fan of the support characters, all of them. Anyone that's not Belle, to be fair. Probably Ice is the only one that I'm like, nah, maybe. But all of them bring so much to this. I mean, you've got magical sword. You've got an elf who is actually OP. You've got so many different type of characters here that you're like, you know what? This team actually bangs. And half of them aren't even in the team. They're like, you know, Belle's got this talk no jutsu sort of thing going on, getting all these people to help him out when he needs the help, and I like that. And yet the fact he's still lost. I
want to know why this is called How to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon when Belle is picking up girls from everywhere. Like, he might be a problem. But on a real note though, I really don't want this whole relationship with Ice to go anywhere. I'm really actually hoping that he ends up with Haruhime, because I think that they're really cute together.
I mean, they play that whole perfect family role, especially with Winnie being the child. It was really cute to watch. I mean, I'm not into that sort of stuff normally in my anime, but it was a nice distraction from the horrors that were going on in the world at the moment. And it was cute. They did the mother and father role really, really well. And I could see them being together. My issue though, in terms of who Belle should be with, is Hestia isn't being honest enough for it to go somewhere. Because if one of them was like, you know what, I like you, what are we going to do about it? It might be Hestia, isn't it?
I don't like the idea of that. She just looks too childlike for me. Like, it's just, I don't like it.
Fair enough.
But why don't you let us know what you guys think in the comments? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.
Peace.